Cheers, guys. Okay, another GoPro Hero 7 Black video. Today I want to squeeze the hell out of this thing. I want to see if this little beast of a camera can shoot cinematic footage, and specifically cinematic B-roll footage for travel vloggers and stuff. Let me just share with you, before I'm gonna start the testing, the settings that I'm using to film with this camera at this moment. Okay, so this is my GoPro Hero 7 Black, and let's see what settings I'm using. First of all, I am filming at 1080p 24 frames per second, and I'm gonna use the linear field of view to avoid the wide angle fisheye look on my videos, so it'll be more cinematic. Then stabilization, I leave it auto because I want it on. I put the Pro Tune settings also on. The shutter speed, ideally I'll have it double the frame rate, but because I don't have an ND filter, I'm just leaving it at auto. The GoPro does a pretty good job adjusting the shutter speed. Now the EV compensation, I'm putting it minus 0.5. I found it to be the best balance. I experimented between 0.0 to -1, and -0.5 was the most optimal settings so far that I've found. White balance, I leave it auto, and then I correct it myself in post-production. This is really important here. The ISO minimum, I leave it 100, and ISO maximum, I also leave it 100 unless I'm filming in low light situations, because if I go over 100 ISO, I'll start to have a little bit of a jello effect on my footage, an artificial effect that I don't really like. So I'd say if you're using in low light situations, use maximum ISO of 400. If you're filming in daylight situations, use the maximum ISO of 100, like I am using right here. Sharpness is also really important. The GoPro just over sharpens everything. I just keep it at low sharpness because it gives the most cinematic look, in my personal opinion, and I just sharpen my video afterwards in Premiere Pro. Color, I leave it flat because in my opinion the GoPro color just oversaturated. I color grade all my footage when I'm filming cinematic videos, so you should also leave it flat. I'm gonna use today 1080p 24 frames per second because that's the maximum that my Canon camera can go. Maybe in a future test I'm gonna do a 4K 24 frames per second and 60 frames per second. I'm gonna see if it's gonna make any difference. To make the footage a little bit more cinematic, sometimes I'm gonna use 60 frames per second and 120 frames per second. So 60 frames per second, in my case it's 50, can shoot with hyper smooth stabilization, whereas 120 frames per second can only shoot at standard stabilization, which is not that stable compared to the hyper smooth. So I'm gonna play around between 50 and 100, and maximum I'll use warp stabilizer in post-production. So let's take this GoPro Hero 7 Black for a cinematic ride. You ready? Okay, so what do you think about the cinematic footage from this little beast, the GoPro Hero 7 Black? I think that this toy can work in some situations for cinematic footage, of course, and obviously a bigger camera with a gimbal, with a low aperture lens, fast focus, and will provide you a better, higher quality image. But you can compare the size of a big camera with a gimbal to just this little toy. So guys, let me know down below if you have some questions, comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I guess I will see you in the next one. Peace out.